He's not a war hero.
War hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
That's what Donald Trump had to say about John McCain. Let's find out why he's wrong. In October 1967, a 30-year-old Navy pilot named John McCain was flying his 23rd combat mission over North Vietnam when his A-4 Skyhawk was shot down by enemy fire. What happened next would define not just McCain's character, but what it means to serve something greater than oneself. McCain was just another young soldier then, when his plane was hit over Hanoi. The ejection broke both his arms and one leg, leaving him falling unconscious toward the enemy capital he had just tried to attack. Try to imagine the terror. 3 broken limbs falling from the sky over hostile territory. His parachute opened late. He crashed into a small lake in downtown Hanoi, struggling to stay afloat with broken arms, trying to pull his life vest toggle with his teeth. A crowd of North Vietnamese civilians swam out to him, and what followed was brutal. They bayoneted him in the groin. A soldier shattered his shoulder with a rifle butt. McCain was then thrown into the infamous Hoa Lo prison, or what American troops sarcastically referred to as the Hanoi Hilton. For a week, they made him beg for medical attention. When a doctor finally came, they set only some of his fractures without anesthetic, leaving others untreated. His weight reportedly dropped to 100 pounds, and other prisoners were certain he would die. But he didn't die. After months of agony, as his bones slowly healed and he could barely stand, something unexpected happened. Prison officials brought him to the commandant's office and made him an offer that would test everything he believed in. They told McCain he could just walk out of the prison. It turned out his father, Admiral John McCain II, had just been appointed head of all naval forces in the Pacific. The North Vietnamese wanted the propaganda victory of releasing the admiral's son as an act of mercy. To their absolute shock, Lieutenant Commander John McCain turned down the offer. The U.S. Military Code of Conduct required prisoners to be released in order of capture. Others had been there longer. McCain demanded that they release every prisoner who was captured before him, and only then would he accept his release. When the North Vietnamese said no, he told them to return him to his cell. The prison commandant was not pleased. Right there in the office, guards broke McCain's ribs, re-broke his arm, and knocked out his teeth. McCain still refused to leave without the other prisoners. He spent 4 more years in that prison, much of it in solitary confinement in a special punishment cell, a closet-sized box in complete darkness, tapping Morse code on the walls to communicate with other prisoners, enduring torture and starvation. For 4 years, John McCain chose to remain a POW, then violate a code. This wasn't a decision made in front of cameras or voters or political advisors. There was no audience except his own conscience and code of honor. No political gain to be had. Just one man and the strength of his character. This is why McCain's later words about serving causes greater than self-interest carried weight that mere political rhetoric could not. Because we had documented, verified proof that he was capable of exactly that kind of devotion. Years later, as a senator and presidential candidate, McCain would still bear the physical marks of that choice. He could never again raise his arms above his head to comb his hair. But he carried something else too, the moral authority that comes only from having faced the ultimate test of character and passing it. In an age of cynicism toward politicians and their motives, McCain represented something different. Not because he was perfect, but because in that moment in a prison cell half a world away, when everything was stripped away, the cameras, the audience, the political considerations, he chose honor over self-interest. John McCain died in 2018, but his example endures. In that dark box in Hanoi, he proved that it's possible for someone to truly serve something greater than themselves. Not just in words, but in the choices that matter most, the ones we make when no one is watching, when everything is on the line, and when our character is the only thing we have left. So when someone says John McCain wasn't a hero, that's how you know they're missing the very definition of one.